In Line Wars today, we are going to be trying to make it a little bit more difficult, or discover a new strategy. So the nuke you can build right at the beginning, which also means we can utilise the instant build of that nuke, shortening the time it takes to actually launch it. Meaning you can launch the nuke within 4 minutes of the game starting. Well, we're going to put this strategy to the test. We're going to play 6 matches. I'm going to try and predict where the enemy goes, build a nuke straight away, and do everything that I can to defend it in time to launch it, and then send everything I have at them to see if I can defeat them. Line up, guys. Prepare for war. So this is going to be game 1 out of 6. We had a bit of trouble at the beginning trying to figure out where to go, but eventually we agreed, but I noticed that he's already there. He's tried to pick the same location as me, so he's right next to me, which means I build the nuke straight away, I draw a line there, make it like a defense line to start with, and I got some people over there I need to bring back, but oh no, they're moving now. So we got some production going as well, help increase our defense really, because with them being right next to us, they're probably going to attack us too. So he sent a few units, probably unintentionally, to us. So he's now built a defense line to match mine, literally staring me in the face, but I don't know if he can see the nuke yet. He probably doesn't know what's coming to him. Luckily, I don't have to scout him because he's already quite close, but normally I would like to see a bit more of their base. But that's probably all they've got, because that's probably the amount of money you start with at the beginning. So, we're already at 3.5 minutes into the battle. I'm going to start sending units around anyway so that I can get 2 angles to shoot from. Put them on haste. The rocket is now ready. I don't know if I've noticed yet. There we go. These are pre-recorded matches. I'm doing a voiceover afterwards. And one of them I do later will be a replay, so let me know which way you prefer me doing this. So I've sent the nuke. I've already sent some units to go and get them. And this was like a perfectly timed nuke, I think. Hits his units. Some of them got away, I'll be honest. But there's nothing they can't handle. So I noticed he's got some at the side, so I left a little defensive line in the forest just in case he decides to be sneaky, because I don't think he can see me when I'm in the forest. But I got a few units there that are out of the forest. Hopefully they'll be alright, and if they're not, at least they'll weaken him. It's the structures I'm after now, because as soon as you built one structure, if it gets destroyed, you've lost. Hopefully he doesn't start building anywhere else. But obviously I think he must have built up north at this point. So he tried to sneak some units around the side of me. So, not north. Just to the east. There we go. So I'm going to still try and use some units to go and expand, because I need a bit more of an income, especially if he manages to expand a bit further than I had expected. The nuke probably isn't going to be effective enough. Luckily, the nuke is usually enough to scare them into quitting straight away. I don't think a lot of people realise that you can use the nuke only once that early without energy. So now we're going into game 2. Yeah, it's kind of an all or nothing strategy, but at least it got us 1 win so far. So we tried to go up there a bit. I thought if he's going for that like city over there, then I wanted to move a bit further away, and that way we would still be close enough to each other to, you know, fight it out, and I can use my nuke on him. So I set up my production right next to my nuke in the mountains, because if he does end up beating me, because I am a bit spread out at the minute, I can still defend the nuke long enough to be able to use it. But if it does come down to that, I don't really know what else it would be. I wouldn't be able to push on from him attacking me. I'd have to nuke myself. But that probably isn't a bad strategy for this. If someone tries to use a nuke this early on you, the nuke has like a large range far away, but it's limited on the inside, so you can't launch it directly on top of itself. But yeah, so I couldn't find him, so I decided to launch the nuke randomly into the fog of war. I thought if anywhere he's going to be there, and if not, then I've probably lost anyway. So if he's not there, by the rules, the nuke was absolutely useless, and the strategy fails, so therefore I consider it a loss, even if I could have won the match anyway, because the strategy just didn't help. So he wasn't there. That makes this a loss. So I let him know, and I apologise. So I gave him the win on that one. So that's now 1 win and 1 loss. Let's move to game 3. This one was my favourite. We tried to start in the same position, so I just move up a bit, because there is a city below, and well, not a city, there's a few towns together, and I assume that's where he'd want to go. I realise that I can still go there and swap to both islands. I can put the nuke on the other island, so that he can't even attack it. All I've got to do is stop him from, I don't know, taking me over so that I can build a force to fight him back with. So I actually tried to go for economy, but I never end up building that again. I can see that he is there because he's already got the city. So my thoughts now are to focus on defence in those mountains at that choke point, so that he just can't get through, hopefully. But I've got my nuke across the island. I'm still expanding with those units just to help increase my income. And that way I hope that it will be fine in the end. So I'm moving those arrows back because if I push them too far forward, when the defence line is set, they'll start pushing forward over the defence line, and they're a bit vulnerable. What's the point in the defence at that point? I've made that mistake before, I don't want to do it again. But yeah, I see quite a lot of units. I was a bit worried, but he starts digging in, so I'm alright now. I'm in the mountains, I have the advantage in defence. But because he's got a defence line set up, I'm going to put some more up. I'm going to double down, or wow, quadruple down on my defences. So my rocket's now ready, and this was the perfect rocket, I believe, as well. Yeah, takes out most of his units, but can my units then take him out? We'll have to find out. And I let them go at just the right time, I think. I don't know if I lose any, because well, you'll see. You can't really see what happens. Just complete destruction. I feel really bad doing the strategy. It just doesn't feel right. He gave up straight away. I feel really mean. But oh well. So that's now 2 wins and 1 loss. This is game 4. So we had trouble starting off. But eventually we picked I sort of chose a straight line down. I thought it'd go to the left, so if I brought them all in, I'd be able to cover a lot of ground. But it turned out that it went against me, so I built the rocket in the middle of my land. Started bringing people forward straight away, and some people left to expand because it's the easiest way to get income at doing this sort of strategy. I did place some income down to see if that would actually help gain me more units. And he sends pretty much everything to try and attack me. He wants to break my front line pretty quickly while they're trying to set up. So I stop one of them building, send them in through the side so they're being attacked at 2 fronts. And I've put the line there on haste so I get my units there faster, but it does make their health go down a bit. I was just hoping to get rid of the battle quickly so I could set up my defences and they'd recover. So yeah, I've got 3 productions. I've launched my rocket now. He's retreated, which was a really big mistake there. And I destroyed most of his production there. But he's got quite a bit of economy, so we'll see how this battle goes. So my units are heading out as fast as they can go. Also, this is the replay match, so if you do like it being sped up, rather than cut out quite a lot, let me know, and I'll try and do whichever one is preferred in the future. I see he's setting up defences there, so I just go round them really, but then he stops them. And then just directly attacks me, which was probably the best thing to do there, really. Because, yeah, he wins. I don't have a chance. And I don't really have much of a force to follow it up with. So instead, I set up defences again and let him come to me. They're not quick enough at setting up the defences, so I bring them in at the sides and flank them from each side. Until they kind of just go a bit chaotic and just run in the middle, because I should have set up the lines a bit better, but oh well. I think I'm trying to test out to see whether I can hold that line or not, because even if I can hold him back, I did hinder him with the missile, and I hope that I could potentially win. But it's just not happening. So this guy actually got nuked, and it was a pretty effective nuke, but I still lost. So that's now 2 wins and 2 losses. This is going to be game 5. So we started picking out, I assumed he'd be in the north, in that city area, which luckily I was right. I wanted to get to the mountains so I could defend better, but that wasn't going to happen. I could see it just wasn't. So instead I decided to defend directly below the mountain and hope that he wouldn't go round. I assumed from experience from doing this that he'd start doing that. setting up his own defences in the mountains, because it's kind of advantageous, especially if we're so close together. Most people like to rush with infantry. But not me. We're going to nuke him. So, I've got my nuke coming up there. It's nearly ready at this point, so I'm bringing up some forces back out from expanding, because by the looks of it I'm going to need everything I have, especially since he's already got aircraft. I was hoping when I nuked him that wherever the airfield was, it would be destroyed. Or at least be severely damaged so it wouldn't last long. Well, let's find out. It probably won't get destroyed from there, to be fair. So, what I wanted was, at the very least, not to place defences like that, because that would be really bad. But what I really wanted was to take out some of that front line so the defences became useless, as well as destroying some other things. The airfield was pretty close, to be fair. But I definitely took out a lot of that defences, as well as the production structure. And that's exactly what you want when doing this. So I stopped the production on that rocket, which is, if you're ever going to try this, you definitely want to do, because as with the energy problem, you won't have the money to buy a power plant or refinery, so you're going to really struggle getting energy at the beginning, which is also why I focus on infantry as well, rather than tanks, because there's just no way I could run them. So even if I do build a second rocket, then I wouldn't be able to launch it because I'd have no energy. But I do see an oil well down there, and I'm thinking this battle might last that long. We just got to find out where the rest of his base is. Because to be fair, we took him out pretty quickly on that one. Again, I still feel pretty bad about that. But the last thing I want right now is to lose momentum when he's still trying to rebuild. And I know he's already got a city up there, you can see through the fog of war. And I am a bit concerned that he might end up outpacing me here, like defend for a bit and then earn enough money to push back. But hopefully that doesn't happen. He can't really see me as far as I know because of the forest after I took out his defense line, but he obviously knows what's coming. And I try and target some of the key things like the tanks because I don't want them coming out, but he quits beforehand. Either way, he put up a good fight after getting nuked. So that's now 3 wins, 2 losses. And this is the last game, which I'm going to cut down quite a bit. This is the way the map was though, there's no cities, so we were really sort of like struggling to figure out where we were going to start, but we still end up picking the same area anyway. I was only going to do 5 battles, but I just kind of wanted to play around with it after I'd done the 5 and see what else could be done. So what my plan was to get this area down here, hope that he went across the water, but he ended up trying to go for the same place as me. However, I still assumed that he was across the water and tried to place that in the mountains, because I think the mountains are like the forest where you can't see very well in them, even if the fog of war isn't there. But yeah, so we got the missile going, I've got these people coming down. I didn't know if he'd be there, but I was hoping he would, and he is. So I set up defense lines in this choke point area, and I try and bring these guys back as I've got other people expanding already. I'll take that line out to make a quicker route to get there, because I know that if he's got more forces behind that fog of war, he'd be able to take me out. But instead, he goes for defences, which I'm just kind of proving today that holding out with a small defence line just might not be the option. He hasn't even finished building it, and I've got a rocket going his way. But I assumed his base was a bit closer to the front line than it was, and I completely missed. And now he knows I've got a rocket, and where I am. Which means he must know that I'm a bit down on my luck now with money. So that sucks. But I double down on defences again, just like before. I've built a shipyard, and I'm being attacked by helicopters. So I changed the shipyard to only produce anti-air, so I could put it in the gap so he doesn't harass me some more. My rocket's now ready for the second time, and I'm struggling with energy because I didn't have any oil to build refineries, so I had to build a power plant, and they suck. So I've built a second power plant now, and hopefully soon they'll be fine. And now that I've got my cruiser, which gets taken out easily by the helicopters, it used up a bit of energy that wasn't worth it. So I've got my rocket on its way now. I can't even remember where I put it. So hopefully this one will do enough damage to allow me to push through. And I keep making mistakes with my lines, and yeah, I take out his defences. I focused on that so I could get through. And now I'm typing. I was being a bit weird, saying sorry and then I missed, so take 2 with the rocket. There's no defences now, so he's going to have to pull back. but I guess he just couldn't be asked. He gave up. So, that's a 50-50 win to loss ratio. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you want to see next time. Thanks for watching.